Good morning, friends. And today we continue with our same topic, laws of motion. Already the three things we have discussed in this one. Last video we discussed Galileo's law of inertia, and now we are extending it to the next one, that is the Newton's first law. It's a 8.4. This one is 5.4. That is Newton's first law. Galileo's simple but revolutionary idea dethroned Aristotelian's mechanics. Then the need was felt by scientific community to develop new mechanics, and this task was accomplished single-handedly by great mind Newton. He laid his three laws of motion. Today these laws of motion are known as the Newton's laws of motion. It is the first law of motion, second law of motion, and third law of motion. Let us see first law of motion. The statement of Newton's first law of motion is based on the law of inertia, which is also known as the law of resistance, which was given by Galileo, and Newton considered this as a foundation for his mechanics. And the statement of Newton's first law is like this: every body remains in a state of rest or uniform motion in straight line unless compelled by some external force to act otherwise. Once again I state it, every body remains in a state of rest. State of rest or uniform motion in a straight line unless compelled by some external force to act otherwise. So this is the statement given by Newton. If you see it carefully, there are two things described in this one: a state of rest and uniform motion in a straight line. Now, it is when the force is zero. When the force is zero, then either the object remains at rest, that is, rest means F is equal to 0, or acceleration is also equal to 0. In this case, it is not accelerated, no acceleration is 0. This is the first case. Second case it described is a uniform motion. Uniform motion. In that case also, force is equal to 0, acceleration is equal to 0. So two situations which were the part of Galileo's law also. Galileo also said that the body remains in a state of rest or uniform motion in straight line unless acted upon external unbalanced force, that is the same type. There is the resistance. They do not change themselves the state of rest or uniform motion. The example of F is equal to 0 is a very simple spaceship. When the astronaut is separated or any spaceship is moving in the space, the gravitational force by Earth is 0. There is no other planet nearby to that spaceship. Therefore, there is no gravitational pull from any other planet, and net force acting on that one is 0. In such case, that spaceship is moving and it keeps on moving in uniform speed. It is without acceleration. It keeps on moving there. This is the example when f is equal to 0. It's in space it happens. But on the earth, on the surface of the earth, mostly the situation which we encounter, that is the summation of all forces is equal to 0. On earth, we never come across this situation. We come across, that is the summation of all forces is equal to 0. And this is important situation. Whenever we see any object at rest, anything at rest, it means that sum of all forces acting on them is equal to 0. Whenever we see anything moving with a uniform motion, it also means that the sum of all forces acting on that is 0. In this situation, there are many forces acting on that body, but sum total is 0. We come across many such situations in day-to-day life or any rest object. We can see there this situation we find. Now let us discuss one example, that is book on table. That is book on table. It's a figure is given there. In textbook also it is discussed. In this context, there are whatever normally we say that is incorrect statement. Then what is a correct statement? Whenever book is kept on table, suppose that this is a table and then book is kept on this one. We say that gravitational pull is there, that is W, which is equal to mv. It is in downward direction. Then we call it, there is R, and as W is equal to R is exactly equal and opposite to W. As W is equal to R, we say that net force acting on this one is 0, therefore it is at rest. But this is incorrect statement. Then what is a correct statement? We go by, correct statement is that we are observing the state of motion of the body. In this case, correct statement comes in this way. This is, the book is on table. Then we see that it is at rest. We are seeing the state of that book. It is at rest. We also know that there is a W in downward direction. As book is at rest, net force acting on the book must be 0. And because of this one, as sum total of forces needs to be 0, there is some upward force by the table in upward direction. This is the correct statement. We know the state of motion, but we do not know nature of all forces. We find out, we try to judge them by this state of motion. If it is at rest, then we are saying there is a R. So generally what we talk about, that is incorrect statement. State of motion is important. If a state of motion is at rest, then we are trying to find out different type of forces there. The correct statement in this one is that as the book is at rest, one force is in downward direction, there is the reaction force in upward direction. This becomes the correct statement. We come across many situations where we are observing law of inertia or Newton's first law. Classic example of this one is the passenger in bus. Passenger in the bus. We all know when we travel in the bus, and if suddenly the brake is applied by the driver, then when the brake is applied, we are pushed in forward direction. Same type of experience when the bus is at rest and when it is accelerated, then we just are getting pushed in backward direction. Why this is happening? This is because of law of inertia. Our body is in contact with the floor of the bus. Now, when the bus is at rest, Our body is also at rest, and therefore we don't find any jerk. When the driver starts bus and accelerates it, then the bus is moving in forward direction. Our body part, feet is in touch with the floor of the bus, but the remaining part of our body is not in touch with the floor of the bus. And therefore, the feet which is in touch with the bus accelerates, and the remaining part, upper part of our body remains at rest. If the frictional force is totally absent, then the effect is that we will be pushed in backward direction and stopped by the other end of the bus. But this is not happening. Our body is a rigid body. As soon as we see that there is an acceleration, then our muscular force comes into play, and then we adjust ourselves in such a way that the net force acting on the body becomes zero, and after some time we stabilize ourselves in the bus. Similar situation happens in the bus when it is suddenly stopped by applying brake. As soon as brake is applied, then we are pushed, thrown in forward direction. Same explanation. Bus comes to the rest. Our feet in contact with the bus are also coming to the rest, but upper part of body remains in a same state of motion, and therefore it is pushed in forward direction. Again, our muscular force comes into play and we stabilize ourselves. These are the examples of laws of inertia by Galileo Galilei. There is one problem is also given. If the spaceship is there, and from spaceship astronaut is coming out with certain acceleration, and then what will be the acceleration on that astronaut when he is coming out of the spaceship? Very simple example. Spaceship, already here I state that if there is no other planet around that spaceship or astronaut, there is no considerable gravitational pull on that astronaut, then the net force acting on that one will be F is equal to 0. F is equal to 0. And therefore, as F is equal to 0, A is also equal to 0, no acceleration on astronaut. It will keep on moving with uniform speed, no acceleration. That's all for the Newton's first law. Thank you.